Hey there, fellow wanderers. The chill of the evening wind begins its dance across the vast expanse of sand stretched endlessly before you. Each gust stirs the dunes, sending fine grains swirling like whispers from a forgotten age. Beneath your feet, the ground shifts quietly, as if breathing with you, cautious, watchful. The sun has just dipped below the horizon, leaving behind a sky painted in deep ruby and fading violet. Its warmth lingers on the sand, only to intensify the sharp coolness creeping in. In the distance, a creature calls faint, strange, unknowable. You wrap yourself tighter in worn fabric, knowing this night will not be kind. This is not a fairy tale. This is the medieval desert, and if you've wandered here without preparation, you probably won't survive this. So, before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. As you trudge across the sand, your feet sink slightly with every forward motion, causing each step to demand more energy than the last. Walking across sand dunes is not the leisurely stroll by the seaside you might imagine. These stretches of sand rise and fall like the breath of the earth itself, each dune hiding another behind it in a deception of distance. You might think you're near your destination, only to crest a final rise and see more endless waves ahead, mocking your efforts with the horizon as elusive as a breeze on a windless day. Beneath your feet, the sand feels alive, whispering in a language older than any you know. In medieval times, such terrain wasn't just a matter of tough footing. It was an obstacle that cost time, energy, and often hope. Each grain a reminder of the impermanence and futility of human struggle. A single footstep might have seemed insignificant, but together they formed the path of history, layered one atop another by countless travelers who dared to cross this unforgiving land. The air around you has a texture all its own, rich with the aroma of earth warmed by the sun, mingling with the coolness of night aromas. It's a scent that's hard to pinpoint, teetering between dry, dusty musk and something almost metallic, like the air before rain in a place where rain rarely falls. Reflecting on these ancient wanderers, historians still argue whether they were driven more by necessity or curiosity after all. Life on the edge of survival's blade left little room for idle wanderings. The medieval desert was a proving ground where only the resilient thrived, those who listened to its rhythms and adapted to meet its challenge head-on. And sure, here you are imagining a medieval sleepover with knights and traders under starlit skies. Well, that's adorable, but don't get too attached to that romantic notion. Unlike a fairy tale where heroes ride off into the sunset, your survival depends significantly on an understanding of the harsh realities before you, not the promises of adventure these stories often sell. Remember that crocodile dung sunscreen? Not because it was especially effective, but because necessity mothers the most curious inventions. In a place where sunscreens or even the most basic of modern comforts were non-existent, medieval travelers concocted their own methods of protection against elements. Would you rub that concoction on your skin? Let's just be thankful for modern inventions. In any case, once the sun has dipped below the horizon, the temperature quickly plummets, and you shake off the daytime weariness with a chilled urgency. It's a stark reminder of how nature knows no compassion, changing its cloak with a briskness that barely gives you time to adjust. There's a comfort in a modern thermostat you never quite appreciated until now. In the medieval desert, even the keenest traveler might have found themselves standing amidst sand and sky, longing for the dawn that would finally offer heat instead of cold, when they once dreaded it for the opposite reason. Ahead of you, the vast expanse stretches into a mystery, beckoning yet warning all at once. And with the stars beginning to twinkle to life in the inky darkness above, this desert is a study in contradictions, hostile yet serene, beautiful yet deadly, and so very, very alone. You can feel history's weight pressing upon you with each step, yet you understand now why few could survive a single night in this medieval desert. This place remains indifferent to your presence, no matter how you strive to make a mark on its shifting surface. The night deepens, And as you feel the weight of the darkness enfold you, your focus turns to the seemingly endless journey over those notorious sand dunes. Each dune presents like a mountain range, boasting heights and depths exaggerated by the capricious light of the moon. You find your path guided more by instinct than by sight, the sands below your feet shifting in subtle betrayal with each step. The dunes are nature's own obstacle course. Climbing one demands more from your weary limbs than you might expect, as the soft sand collapses beneath your feet, causing you to slip back with almost every step forward. You begin to realize why they call this traveler's hell. The desert forces you to engage in a constant, draining battle against the elements. It's enough to make you wish for a trusty steed, or perhaps a medieval guide well versed in the secret paths. In the thick of this effort, your senses remain keenly attuned to your surroundings. You hear the sand sighing with each movement, a cosmic symphony that plays softly under the breath of the warm breeze. The gentle rustle may seem soothing, but it's the kind of lullaby that distracts just enough to make you stumble if you're not careful. It's like walking on a landlocked ocean, waves of grains rippling seamlessly into one another, disguising depth and distance. Amidst your climb, you consider that romantic notion again, of medieval travelers clad in flowing robes and turban-shaded eyes. Yet, their reality wasn't so picturesque. They'd have been ever wary of the desert's deceitful nature, its ability to appear static, yet shift unexpectedly, swallowing treasures and travelers alike. Yet here they traveled, trailblazing paths that would parlay camel trains, laden with desiccated fruit and fragrant spices. You're amused to consider that in a different life, you would have believed the earth beneath you to be enchanted alive and breathing. After all, medieval times were rife with stories of celestial happenings and divine intervention, the border of fact and superstition often blurring under such starry expanses. Historians debate whether these beliefs fueled courage or fear, driving many swordsmen and scholars, merchants and misfits into the harsh unknown. The moon casts its silver upon this scene, showcasing the sand in various shades of grey and white, shifting with the shadows. Yet, just as beguiling are the unseen layers beneath, where moisture remains trapped far from the surface, like secrets buried in the desert's memory. It's entertaining to ponder if perhaps these beneath-the-surface caches are why camels appear so nonchalant under the desert sun. They've learned where to dig when no one's looking. As you navigate this undulating sea of sand, your thoughts drift back to the myriad tracks crisscrossing beneath and around you, some of human origin, others more cryptic. It's peculiar to think that, one step removed, Bedouins may have walked parallel to this very path centuries earlier, their footsteps erased by the shifting tides of sand as quickly as they appeared. What would they say to you now, these ghosts of Roma's past, as you plunge into the heart of this arid world? Perhaps they'd offer small nuggets of wisdom, clues on reading the play of wind over sand, or listening to the earth's whisper through the soles of your feet, tips for merging into the landscape rather than fighting it. After all, the art of desert navigation was as much an internal journey as it was an external one. You pause atop a dune to catch your breath, the landscape around you undulating in every direction under the constant vigilance of the starlit sky. Is it just your imagination, or do these stars seem closer, brighter here? They paint a canvas that shifts the mind away from the desert's abrasiveness, an irony that makes the exhaustion just a little more bearable, at least enough to distract from your aching calves. In the medieval age, such a celestial display would have been a guiding light for those attuned to its messages. Yet, you find that the vastness is not overwhelmingly isolating but rather meditative, a dentist's waiting room of tranquility, if you will. Remember, there's no phone signal here, no distraction, save for the occasional ache in an unused muscle or the whisper of sand across leather boots. The night remains vigilantly silent save for the ever-present sigh of the sands, and you consider, perhaps, this is the real trick: surrender. To tread lightly upon this shifting tapestry, finding your natural rhythm with the flow of the dunes. With each step, forethought becomes less important than simply moving forward, becoming one with the patient dance of earth and wind. It dawns on you slowly, like wispy revelations born of desert silence. It is not a race, but an enduring quest of balance, of respect for the journey over the destination. This quietude, with its shroud of mystery and soft light, is not one to be easily forgotten. Indeed, trudging over these medieval dunes is an art as much as it is an endurance test, a testament to resilience that connects you intimately with ages past. Your journey continues, and as your eyes play tricks on you, a shimmer in the distance, a hint of water gleaming at the base of the next dune, you find yourself drawn to the beguiling promise of an oasis. But these are desert's false charms, the infamous mirages that snared many a medieval traveller's hopes, leading parched and weary souls toward illusory promises of reprieve. Mirages are one of the desert's cruelest jokes, a trick of light and air that distorts reality with reflections of distant objects, often the longed-for pools of water where none exist. It's a phenomenon born from the refraction of light through layers of varying temperatures, and while you're pondering the science of it all, perhaps a little too late, it's easy to imagine those ancient wanderers straying miles off course, chasing glimmers that dissolve with approach. Historians still argue whether such illusions were considered curses of the sand or mystical trials to test the heart's endurance. In the medieval era, an oasis was more than a catch-me-if-you-can of the desert. It was life itself, a promise of salvation that dictated trade routes and settlement locations. The knowledge of their secretive locations passed down like precious heirlooms, guarded by nomadic tribes who knew each spring's whereabouts like the back of a weathered, sunburnt hand. Even today, stumbling upon an oasis would feel like winning a lottery if only the ticket weren't invisible and the odds so incalculably steep. Under the swelling sky, your mind begins to weave the landscape into tales of the past, of silk-robed merchants crossing on trade routes, eyes ever peeled for signs of water. Imagine them examining the horizon with squinted eyes, conferring with camel drivers who read the sands the way modern sailors read the sea. But you? You continue onward, learning to discern the real from the imagined with each step. Though it seems simple, squint, judge, and move on. Imagine the weight of it, how the decision to believe or dismiss what your eyes present can dictate life or death in these dunes. It's almost comedic in its simplicity, a place where one's fate rests upon the clarity of sight when weariness makes blinking seem an effort. Still entangled in these thoughts, a quirky tidbit floats across your mind. The famed explorer Ibn Battuta spoke of oases appearing like scattered jewels across North Africa's desert stretches, but with only the trusted as his guides, as he ventured into realms unseen by his contemporaries. These remarks, buried within exhaustive travelogues and recountings, held daily tastes of the challenges you now mimic. And suppose you should somehow, miraculously, find yourself nearing one of these life-saving islands amidst a sea of sand. Ancient palms spread wide, fronds framing pools cradling sparkling liquid sustenance, water so clear and shimmering, it feels less like an oasis here and more akin to finding a secret door leading to the fantastical worlds of your childhood stories. Historians, poets, the dreamers, and the doubters would have you believe that the appearance of a true oasis couldn't merely be chance. It was divine intervention, a merciful whisper from the heavens when the desert's cruelty seemed relentless. Regardless of belief, reality was tangible proof. A spring here, lush greenery there, both vital and beautiful. The fantasy lingers, even as reality reasserts itself. There is no oasis, only sand and air, and the rhythmic grind of your souls against the dunes. The terrain both repetitive yet subtly changing, each new crest offering more sand-stitched vistas, dotted with cacti that claim their thrones stubbornly in defiance of their landscape. The understanding dawns these oases, real or imagined, teach patience. Even the desert, fierce and unforgiving, pauses here and there for life to breathe. Sometimes finding an oasis isn't the end of the journey, but a gentle reminder from the desert that persistence leads to pockets of solace, drops of refreshment against a backdrop of arid stillness. While gratitude begins to take form in mere footfalls without relief, the night deepens on. Each step imprints stories of quest and quiet resilience, marking a path to nowhere and everywhere, where the dream of oases cling closely to the reality of the desert, both cradled under the stars' watchful eyes. The mirage fades, perhaps only until the next ridge, where again light plays gently with hopes against the horizon's edge. The night wraps you in its expansive cloak, and the desert's silence amplifies every sound it shelters. As you continue your journey, Your ears pick up the subtle orchestration of life stirring beneath the cool grasp of lunar light. Despite the overwhelming quiet, this desert is far from lifeless. It is a place where survival depends on perfect timing, and the wise orchestration of energy bestowed upon the evening's embrace. As you focus on your surroundings, you hear a soft scuttling nearby. Perhaps it's a gerbil or a jerboa, small creatures that thrive in the vast openness, darting between burrowed sanctuaries and tiny tufts of vegetation, avoiding predators, lest you catch sight of one more, a shadow slipping quickly into unseen places. Their minute rustles join in a delicate background hum that accompanies you like an ever-present phantom symphony, one echoing the enduring cycle of life and survival. Listen closely, and you may catch the distant call of a desert owl, its soft trill cutting poignantly through the still night. The wise hunter moves silently, capturing its prey with precision unknown to those bound by earthly sounds. Isn't it curious to consider how medieval inhabitants might have perceived these noises, whether as omens or mere background chatter, interpreting their significance through a tapestry of folklore? You walk onward, feeling sympathy for these nocturnal creatures wrapped in mystery. They've developed ingenious adaptations to this harsh environment. Their routines mirror those of travelers who crossed this harsh land under cover of darkness, avoiding the debilitating daytime swelter. The desert night was the medieval highway, a time when the sands cooled and paths became slightly more forgiving. The moon washes over the landscape, casting spectral shadows that stretch and shift like living things. Out here, in the open vastness, each sound feels heightened. The gritty crunch of sand beneath your stride, the sporadic chirrups of hidden crickets, all creating a hidden cadence, a conversation among the wilderness. Only the night understands. You picture yourself as one of those Bedouin guides who knew this land intimately, whisperers among dunes who navigated by stars. Stars burn brighter without the mask of civilization's lights, forming constellations that medieval travelers, those keen-eyed navigators, could read as easily as markers on a map. These guides recognize the calls of hidden fauna not as random noise, but as clues, piecing together a living map with sound woven deep into its topography. Historians love to puzzle over how such instincts are hone time, tutelage, or perhaps something innate. Whether these skills were passed through generations or born of necessity, one thing is clear. For those attuned to the desert's language, sounds became guides more trusted than unreliable mirages. A burst of sound interrupts, a jackal's quick bark from somewhere off to your right, its echoes lent a haunting weight by the night air. Perhaps it's a laughter-like keening shared in communion with its pack, testing the air for sense of food or threats. In medieval lore, canids such as these were often ascribed qualities of cleverness and cunning, navigators able to pivot quickly between decisive acts. And jokes aside, who could blame anyone for wanting a loyal canine companion out here? 100 eyes watching the horizon, a trusty partner galloping across the sea of rolling sands. Or perhaps that's too poetic, envisioning castle guards, replaced by swift-pawed desert dwellers, tickling the idea in your mind. Other sounds creep closer. A shuffle, maybe two such shuffles. Your imagination flits between the plausible and the outlandish scorpions, crossing on curious missions, snakes slithering through the sand like eldritch whispers. These nocturnal denizens have adapted perfectly to such a land, conduits of age-old survival tactics in a tapestry woven relentlessly by evolution itself. This ecosystem's whispers tell a tale of adaptation, of life seamlessly integrated with its environment, a natural symphony navigated and deciphered by those with instinctive understanding. You reflect on how little those medieval wanderers might have known of the scientific nuances at play, the dynamics of sound, the presence of infrared guiding senses among nocturnal creatures that move unseen and unheard by day. Yet, there is solace here, a solemnity within the night's song. You continue on, urging yourself to memorize these sounds, your own traveler's symphony worn into the ancient threads of time under a starry sky. Let the wind cradle you with lullabies spun from unseen realms, an audible testimony to the existence of life busily thriving in the shadows. In keeping your senses open, you become part of this sonorous cycle, one with the ancient rhythms that have sustained the desert's breath over millennium. With the moon hanging heavily above, you feel the echoes of tribes that have wandered these sands long before your time. The Bedouin people, masters of navigation and survival, leave subtle traces in the heart of the desert, like whispers carried on the wind. You find yourself leaning into the history that dances just beyond the veil of night, imagining the soft footfalls of these ancient nomads whose paths crisscrossed the desert's wide reaches. These tribes were known for their intimate relationship with the land, their survival intertwined with its vast and shifting nature. Bedouin life was a testament to the art of adaptation, where the desert itself became both home and guide. While outsiders might view these men and women as secretive, historians continue to unravel their tale, debating how they could live graciously within such harsh confines. In the still night, it's not difficult to picture a caravan moving silently across the dunes, their camels stepping lightly over the sand as Bedouin traders led them through the maze of the wilderness. These men wove their lives between the dunes with a learned grace, compelled by the winds and the shifting sands that reconfigured daily. They left little but footprints that vanished with the dawn, drawing myth into reality and solidifying their legendary status as navigators par excellence. Modern asides remind you of today's GPS and satellite guidance systems that seem miraculous in comparison to the stars and instinctual roadmaps the Bedouins relied on. Yet there's a charm in the old ways, and might liken it to preferring vinyl records over digital sound. It may lack contemporary precision, yet it holds a richness, an authenticity deeper than any line of code could replicate. The night stretches on, mirroring the vast desert savanna and seeming to breathe a life of its own. You imagine the tribal elders recounting tales by the fire's glow, their voices rising and falling like overturned sand cascading down a dune. These stories were tapestries woven from memory, each thread an account of their trials, each node a lesson honed by generations. You smile at a whimsical notion. If they were to wander into a modern-day metropolitan crowd, armed with smartphones and digital maps, these old wanderers might laugh at the thought of relying on something that cannot feel the breath of a cooling night breeze or hear the desert's song. There's an irony there that tickles the imagination, a sardonic understanding that sometimes progress clouds the instincts. To this day, there remains an aura of mystique surrounding the Bedouin tribes, their knowledge as elusive as the desert's face, adapting and evolving as the centuries pass. Did they truly possess secret pathways known only to them, or were their tracks purely skill, adapting to each whisper of change with innate understanding? The question remains open, even as the march of time seeks to unveil these mysteries. The desert's occasional gust of wind picks up grains of sand, sweeping them gently against your skin, a tactile reminder of the world around you. And as you reflect on the living history beneath your feet, it feels as though time coils into itself, blurring the edges of now and then. You can almost see a fire flickering in the distance, the low murmur of voicessa scene that's just out of reach. But these fires have long since dimmed, their glow absorbed into the fabric of history. Yet, like all enduring echoes, they find ways to linger softly in the night air, like spectres keeping watch over their beloved terrain, carrying whispers that guide from beyond the visible spectrum. Language, maps, even the mere existence of havens like Oasis became threads in their intricate web of survival. Paths whispered from father to son, mother to daughter, and now to you. In this vivid tapestry of a timeless night, you continue, guided not just by the stars, but by the stories of those who traveled before. With each step, you carry the legacy of the tribes, the knowledge and wonder of the desert, etched into the very path you follow. Your journey becomes not just one of survival, but of homage, a silent nod to those whose footsteps have long moved on yet, whose spirit endures, woven seamlessly into the sands. The night deepens as you continue your journey, and the air around you holds a crisp, almost cinematic quality in its embrace. With each breath, you feel the chill settling into your bones, a reminder of the desert's dual nature. By day, this land folds the sun's heat like a lover's hug, but by night, it transforms into an arena of biting cold. The medieval desert's climate is a fickle companion, demanding respect from those who dare traverse its domain. Each inhalation brings with it a melange of scents, tinged with the cool whisper of sand and flinty undertones of ancient stones. The temperature has now plummeted, leaving a stark cold in the air that nips at your skin and seeps through even the thickest Rabisa hand-me-down wisdom from travelers past. As the sands shed their absorbed heat, a chill engulfs you, a constant companion in the shivering embrace of this nighttime world. The uncompromising climate has always been a challenge for desert wanderers, forcing medieval travelers to become masters of adaptation. Your mind travels back to those times, contemplating how they braved such extremes without the chronological advantage of synthetic materials and precise weather forecasting. They moved with forethought, attuned to nature's rhythm-seat shift of wind and murmur of breeze, serving as both guide and warning. It's fascinating, really, to imagine those medieval souls huddling under protection from cold nights as scouts of yore and sweltering under relentless daytime suns. They wrapped themselves in cloaks and robes woven from camel and goat hair fabric, spun as much from ingenuity as necessity tools to deflect extremes, and survival companions that personalized the wild beauty of these uncaring lands. The debate remains heated among historians as to just how much was known of complex meteorological phenomena. Was reliance pure intuition, or were more sophisticated cognitive strategies at play? Your light sarcasm conjures the image of medieval meteorologists armed only with cloud formations and peculiar cactus behavior to predict conditions. Ah, see the orientation of these thistles? That means we'll have a frosty night, my friends. Then again, maybe Mother Nature wasn't half as accommodating. Sensing a wispy thread of consternation tugging at your awareness, your eyes sweep skies largely uninterrupted in this vast expanse. The celestial vault, studded with stars and kissed by Frigga's mischievous constellations, seems an endless canvas offering serenity despite the chilling grip below. These stars, eternal sentinels bright against cosmic blackness, would have been as important to desert travelers as any map. Unlike human-made charts subject to wear and whimsy, stars held an unyielding constancy guiding wayfarers, as dependably then as surely as now. Stories were birthed under these stars, tales of heroes and adventures carried in whispers through generations, offering warmth against a cold void. You sense the universe ticking imperceptibly forward around you, a rhythmic echo of time and space, resonating with the clang of knights' swords on shields, merchant voices haggling quietly within memory's scope, the shouts fading as history strides one step ahead. While moving forward, a sudden gust caresses your features, bringing the reek of lad from wind passing over rocky outcrops of the terrains in this desert landscape, also subject to vertical temperature flux. Such regions, nestled secretively, serve as sanctuaries for small creatures hiding from the starkness of sun's wrath, so perfectly ennobled in nighttime repose. The image draws you towards stories of old how shifting sands and molten heat were parables for the comfort of fire, the cold, a lessee upon human spirit. Within this theatre, identity and experience stretch like shadows across the dune fields, etching lessons where skies meet sand in agreement, or defiance perhaps simultaneously both. Reflecting further, you pause to appreciate the innate spirit of those spectacular nights endured by medieval travelers. It wasn't merely about surviving temperature's wild oscillations, but thriving amidst them, turning barren arena into tutor. Climate may have been foe, yet fellowship born of mutual understanding and resilience ensured they remained earthbound, whistling into tomorrow's sunbeam anew. And as the wind lifts its voice across this nocturne space, imagine it implicating these souls left in its lilt-rekindling tales within every sweep of dust, stories untold save for the trained eye and imaginative follower. And so may your footsteps form new tales, echoed in the sigh of sand beneath the starlit domia. Reminder that while temperatures change, the age-old allure of the desert night remains unyielding. In the desert's chilly embrace, you begin to realize the importance of being properly attired to withstand the harsh extremes. As you gather your cloak around you tighter, imagine yourself clothed in the garb, typical of medieval desert dwellers' robes and garments, that served as both protection and comfort against the unpredictable elements. It doesn't take long to appreciate the genius behind such attire. Layers worked like allies, shields against both searing sun and night's encroaching cold. Your clothing might mimic those worn by Bedouins or traders, crafted from camel hair or woven wool, materials known for their ability to insulate against both heat and chill. The fabrics breathe with you allowing airflow while preserving vital warmth. This isn't your average coat from the local department store. Rather, it's the culmination of centuries of trial and error, perfected by those whose lives depended on outmaneuvering nature's whims. Imagine traveling from colder European climates into such inhospitable zones without these adaptations. Your initial relief at shedding heavier garments replaced by a hunger for these looser, protective robes. You chuckle, considering that if medieval Fashion Week had existed, sand-friendly clothing would surely have been all the rage. The added layers feel heavy against your skin, but there's an artfulness in their construction, designed to balance form and function beautifully. Capes and cloaks hang gracefully, creating a silhouette that naturally seems part of the landscape made, not just for surviving, but exuding a subtle elegance, befitting the terrain's majestic yet Spartan beauty. As you contemplate this sartorial innovation, your mind wanders back to old tales and well-trodden paths. Traders draped in dye, rich robes haggling exotic spices and textiles, knights journeying under banners, with the sun glinting off chainmail peeking through travel-worn tunics. Some might say the best armor is knowing what to wear, rather than merely outfitting oneself after all. One might wield a sword, but foolish armor risks life rather than saves it. Historians still deliberate the specifics what exact hues were favored, whether lengths varied significantly by rank or tribe. Was color a luxury? Or did it serve purpose only amid trade's myriad exchanges? Such discussions swirl resembling whirls of sand, spirited in fitful gusts that accompany stories found among ancient caravan relics. And within your garments, the embrace of scents cling-hinted musks and notes from dusty leather and purified oils line pockets within clothing folds. These vestiges subtly enhance senses, cultivating an atmospheric richness carrying you swiftly elsewhere with backward winds. Your mirage-aided imagination may quickly sprinkle melancholic scenes of medieval marketplaces, bustling with wares and varietal fragrance, favored amidst pragmatic abundance. As modern travelers, one tends to overlook the humble keffiyeh or turban. Back then, these were a true boon, not just added sunshade but crucial for navigation. These were filters to keep out blinding grains, wraps to guard against lashing winds, and signal flags in the merry din of traversing a fiercely whimsical world. A simple strip of fabric, expertly wrapped, meant all the difference in survival. With each step, marooned against night's gathering gloom, your makeshift guise serves humbly. Medieval travelers long for practicality over ornament within utility's cradle. Whether standing at clerical posts within famed Al-Andalus poetry, or recitative among Ottoman bazaars, bustling through time's resplendent whisper, sundoubtedly attire marks the thriving cultural globule rich in texture, tinted perseverance. Yet comfort reigns lightly and courageously, tooth, burden, and privilege of wisdom, narrating in these figures, circumventing spattered star-siege step, exacting, albeit no less intriguing. You become intermingled with tradition, transcending multiple worlds and epochs bright without boundary, enveloping nostalgia's faint echoing promises upon dreams nested beneath garments' weighted embrace. These sands inch closer, with now rhythmic regularity, wind breathing contentedly through fibers, offering semblance to old truths, guiding you steadily. Remind yourself that these are garments carefully crafted not only to endure, but to tell boundless tales as ancient as eternity itself. Through it all, continue discernibly, always feeling the fabric gives way to carry history in its weavier paean, as timely as the desert stretch ahead, a convergence of time open against its hidden marvels and high-reaching grace beneath the watchful eye of an antique sentinel moon. As the night deepens, the desert around you transforms, revealing an ecosystem whose intricacies are as mesmerizing as they are perilous. You begin to notice the faint scuttles and slithers of the region's elusive creatures, each perfectly adapted to this harsh and hypnotic environment. Here, life is a study in contrast and resilience, a testament to nature's remarkable ability to adapt while daring you to weave safely in its midst. Across your path, shadows lengthen and soften, revealing a diverse cast of desert fauna. Every creature you might encounter, from the smallest beetle to the most intrepid snake, has carved out its unique niche in this forbidding land. Picture the medieval traveler, weary yet vigilant, pondering whether the rustle in the sand signals harmless movement or hints at something more sinister. Snakes glide seamlessly, their sleek bodies weaving through the grains like silk against sand, each twist and turn calculated, as if they've choreographed their every move against the backdrop of moonlit dunes. These masters of camouflage echo the elegance and danger the desert encapsulates, their movements silent, save for the subtle stir of sand beneath them, predators and survivors in equal measure. You find yourself pondering what those of the medieval age thought when faced with these sinuous spectres under the desert sky. To them, the snakes might have been harbingers of fortune or omens in disguise, symbolizing both savior and peril bound together in this enigmatic ballet. Wonder arises whether folks like those nomadic explorers saw them as mystical beings, imagining them imbued with powers beyond human ken, worshipped, or perhaps even warded against with elaborate charms. Then there are the scorpions, your mind's eye seeing their shadows stretched long across the sand. Despite, or perhaps because of, their reputation, these creatures carry an allure. Armored and ancient, they straddle the line between fearsome and fascinating, their pincers poised and tails coiled, offering warnings as old as time itself and as persistent as the endless desert sands. It's captivating to imagine medieval people bestowing mythical origin tales upon such creatures, their stingers, objects of deadly beauty but woven into their folk tales as reminders of consequences. Historians still debate whether they were viewed merely as nuisances or as enigmatic allies whose presence dictated the safe passage or hurried demise of a caravan. Amidst this living theatre, the cacti stand sentry. Stoic and storied, they thrive against all odds, storing moisture within arms that reach skyward as if siphoning strength from the heavens. These prickly patrons provide sustenance and shade to the creatures of the desert, serving as vital waypoints on routes traversed by man and animal alike. Interestingly, some species of desert cactus were known even in medieval times to possess medicinal properties, passed through generations as remedies for ailments born of rigorous passage. You wonder at the wisdom contained within their thick skins, and if following travelers and tribes sought their counsel in navigating both ailments and unknown landscapes. Amongst these denizens, you begin to feel a certain kinship forming, an understanding of subtlety and instinct that exists in this delicate ecosystem. Here, in this realm, you are not merely an observer, but another piece in an age-old tableau of survival. Your senses play concertmaster to nature's score, making the sounds of shifting sand your tiara and the play of nocturnal life your rhythmic disguise. You soon realize, too, that this desert, the seemingly empty expanse, is indeed brimming with life. Amidst soft dunes and under a glittering canopy, each creature tells a story older than cities and civilizations, their existence as intertwined with the landscape as were those of ancient travelers' long journeys. As the sky softens with the prelude to dawn, you find some subtle joy in knowing such tenacity. These creatures and plants are facets of an immense world that, like you tonight, once stood beneath a cerulean vault unbroken by city lights. This acknowledgement transforms your journey from a simple walk under the stars to an exploration of a night where life moved seamlessly between its roles of hiding and hunting. Your path, knit from these moments with the flora and fauna of the desert, forms unseen bridges traversed by medieval souls who feared, revered, and sometimes even worshipped what unfolded within such shadows. You breathe deeply, drawing energy from the quiet purpose of those who dared to stride this path before you, each heartbeat echoing through time, syncing with the unwavering pulse of the ancient and the enduring. As you continue through the desert night, conscious of every precious resource at your disposal, the importance of water becomes distinctly acute. Each drop, each sip of liquid, seems to bear its own weight. The realization that in this environment, water is far more than a thirst quencher, it is life itself, a currency as valuable as gold in medieval times. You can imagine medieval travelers hunched over their precious water skins, carefully rationing each draught, their lives hanging in delicate balance with each decision. The memory of their faces, lined with worry from the scarcity of water, overlaps the scene around you, a ghostly reminder of how intimately survival was tied to liquid reserves of the desert. Medieval expeditions were meticulously planned around sources of water, Caravans were like lifelines strung between known wells and oases, each stop a sanctuary for the parched and weary. To miss a watering station was unthinkable, a mistake that could spell doom for even the hardiest of travelers. For medieval travelers, an extra ounce of water could mean the difference between enduring another day or succumbing to the relentless sun. As you continue through the night, you marvel at how they managed these distances with nothing but rudimentary maps, constellations, and sometimes just the knowledge imparted orally through generations. It was a delicate dance with natura rhythm that, once synchronized, could be counted on even amidst the starkest of environs. The argument endures among historians. Did travelers who successfully navigated these paths embody a form of genius, or was it merely the good grace of the elements? Despite water's absence, dampness seems almost tangibly a mirage, born from your internal longing, hoping for even the briefest respite found in the tender gaze upon a real oasis at dawn's first glimmer. The wind sings in whimsical tones, carrying faint soothed promises in its coolness, or maybe imagining something caringly miscast by whims of unsettled consciousness. The weight of water isn't simply physical, but emotional. It's an entity, promised through the caress of desert breezy seach, whisper, weaving life's presence with promise, hinted purposefully, but withheld indefinitely. You observe the moonlight cloaking distant shadows, ever-reaching fingers, managing dreams, anew momentarily bound by thirst's embrace. And throughout this unwavering march, a peculiar practice emerges, the swapping of hydration tales at campfires, sharing remedies whispered through the sands to preserve this most precious of resources. In medieval times, travelers shared their water wisdom, like how to sip and swish only what was necessary, employing every trick, myth, and legend to keep desiccation at bay. These water rituals, a tapestry woven with necessity and a hint of desperation, gave rise to myths that continue to quench our imaginations today. Reflecting the history with your modern perspective might conjure images of water coolers stationed amid the wilderness. Yet such conveniences harbour none of the mumblings and negotiations seen between camel drivers and acrobatic water carriers, brandishing goatskins like shadows upon beasts' backs. Amidst the night's chill, a sudden recollection medieval campaigns often surged into lands grappling with scarcity, tales of soldiers whose tongues thickened as they pondered where their next sip might come from. In reality versus ideals, leadership undoubtedly spared none from parched sentences dictated on expectation like dew at dawn's touch. This adventuring reveals itself in softer hymns, threading winds from history to present, where crystalline drops miss upon yearning lips, but yearn cupped ingenue, gently crafted through memory's careful unfolding fingers. Inward, facing the unknowable secrets of the night, don't resist this shared traveler's sentiment. Let every drop remembered weave connections, dissolve differences, surrender promises. Stand now, resolute among timeless shadows, song beseeching Skyesto, squander water is human, to treasure, divine. Each step betrays the perfection nuanced upon shoulders' extensions as countenance upholds. Unbidden acknowledgement shared among kindred universes, bound and drop, one hope at a time. As the first hints of dawn begin to tease the horizon, the inky blackness above fades to deep blue, and the vast constellation tapestry unfurls itself fully in the desert sky. In this liminal time before the sun climbs too high, you turn your gaze upward, where stars twinkle like diamonds scattered across an infinite canvas. Just as the desert ground remains uncharted and open, so too does the sky present itself as a vast mapper celestial guide that has long directed the way for travelers across these boundless sands. Medieval wanderers possessed an intimate relationship with the stars. Nights spent beneath the impeccable tapestry of celestial lights honed their understanding, allowing them to navigate using nothing but the gleam of constellations and the moon's steady gaze. For many, the cosmos remained a source of both solace and guidance, an unwavering pathfinder in a vast and unyielding land. The North Star has been a beacon throughout the ages, Polaris holding its place steadfast in the northern sky, a constant in the ever-shifting nocturnal dome. Here, in the silence of the desert, it's easy to see why it became a trusting guide. Among the many points of light, this one star leads you northward, whispering assurances to even the most disoriented of wanderers. But these travelers were not blindly following the stars. Oh no. Theirs was a practiced art, a dance of observation that saw them drawing lines between celestial points, aligning their paths to clusters of stars named for mythic heroes and creatures, tales woven into their very charts. Historians still ponder the full extent of their celestial understanding and entanglements. Was their celestial mapping an inherited science, or a deeply spiritual pursuit fueled by storied traditions? As you stand beneath this sprawling firmament, you're momentarily transported back to a time when starlight was not just directional, but deeply entwined with the very fabric of destiny. Imagine traders who once trekked with eyes fixed on the heavens, their cargo of spices and textiles made all the more precious by the uncertainty of their journey's outcome. Their stories, given life by the stars themselves, spoke of gods and goddesses who watched over them, astral protectors guiding without prejudice. You hold your breath, aware of the delicate silence that backdrops this stellar display. It feels like you're attending the most ancient concert in existence, each twinkle a note in an illustrious symphony, echoing timeless harmonies across the vast stretches of desert and beyond. It's in these moments that you recognize the stars aren't simply markers, but also storytellers, whose tales are inscribed within the constellations, a universal language, understood by those who tread these paths before you. The constellations carry tales as old as time itself. Orion the hunter, forever chasing the mighty Taurus, accompanied by loyal Canis Major. They seem to twinkle with knowing authority, and you feel a kinship with those medieval travelers who lay beneath the same patterns, crafting their maps in accordance with divine design. Yet, despite their familiarity and steadfast presence, the stars possess an element of mystery. Historians still argue whether the navigational architecture of celestial spheres was purely practicality or colored with wistful dreams of destiny's embrace. Did medieval travelers glean more than direction from their sparkling companions, perhaps unfolding fabled insights or divine messages interwoven with destiny's hands? You stand at the cusp of dawn, emboldened by understanding, bathed in starlight that tells stories of triumph and tragedy, and of wanderers who etched their own tales across the frontier. These stars, holding silent sway, have watched countless nights unfold over the sand-sere but gentle guardians, overseeing the desert's eternal dance, winking enigmatically at history from across the universe. As the edges of the sky begin to lighten, you feel the night slipping away, the constellations veiled once more as the stars retreat from waking eyes and earthly demands. Yet their guidance seems to linger, imprinted upon your heart, echoing a promise that you are never truly alone. The stars will always be ready, waiting to celebrate your journey upon each future night's return. In the dawning light, the desert slowly reveals itself anew, and while today might lend itself to different cartography advancements than the medieval ages once possessed, the legacy of starlit travelers remains a testament to human adaptability and celestial wonder. Forever it will be said, beneath these stars, a seeker will always find their way, heart illuminated, garnished in celebration beneath their tender, understanding gaze. As dawn breaks over the horizon, the desert is momentarily hushed, holding its breath in anticipation of the day's trials. The sun, yet to unleash its full intensity, casts gentle shadows across the sand, painting the landscape in warm hues. It's an exquisite backdrop for contemplation, exploring how even the gentility of morning awakens memories of the battles waged within such an abyss, where the desert itself became a formidable antagonist. In these sands, long ago, medieval armies battled not only each other, but also the elements. The strategic importance of desert warfare cannot be understated. Here, tactics had to be as fluid as water-constant adaptation was survival itself. The desert proved a deceptively empty battleground, as treacherous as any castle siege or wooded skirmish. Each dune could be an ally or a threat, every oasis as much a curse as a blessing, potentially poisoned or fiercely defended. Picture it, an army on the march, banners fluttering listlessly in the hot wind, footprints quickly covered as if erasing the march entirely from memory, leaving behind whispers of a passage, deliberately ghostly. In the medieval mindset, battling through dunes was not only a test of might, but a contest of navigation prowess, where a soldier's ability to read the land could shift the balance of power. Armies traversed these lands guided by scouts who could anticipate how today's winds might expose yesterday's pitfalls. Tactics adapted to an unforgiving host, where even the most armored knight had to respect nature's suffocating embrace. As they lined up for battle, soldiers faced not just their foes, but also blinding sun, dehydrating heat, and overnight chills that could snuff out the unwary's life without combat's intervention. The sun, with its brilliant corona, was a harsh dictator, its rays as much a weapon as arrows or blades. Soldiers learned to leverage this burning sky, positioning themselves to attack with the sun at their enemies' backs, rendering them shadows in a blinding vista, cunning use of nature's ambush. Historians still debate the most effective tactics brought to bear in such harsh environments. Was it the lightning skirmishes conducted by light cavalry, unfettered by heavy armor, or the impressive sieges by forces that mastered the art of desert survival? Regardless, cunning often triumphed over might. It was the strategist's playground, where generals played a high-stakes game of chess upon the sand's deceptive board. Amidst these skirmishes, not all victors were human. The sun, desert storms, and elusive water sources constituted fellow combatants whose favor was as serene as it was fickle. Each faction might find themselves at the mercy of these elements, testing not just military prowess, but resourcefulness, a deft hand, at managing men and materials, seeking both victory and survival. Consider tales of lost battalions who blindly wandered, swallowed by shifting sands, victims less of rival armies than the desert's enigmatic allure. Their stories became cautionary legends, shared by campfires for centuries, reminders of the delicate balance between hubris and humility under the relentless sun sky. Amusing as it may sound, attempt entertaining the idea of generals pausing mid-battle to draft impromptu treaties with local wildlife scorpions retreating from bivouac lines or making peace with thorny cacti in avoidance. The absurdity underscores the unpredictability where enemy soldiers were equally likely to face a swarm of agitated creatures, stirred to action as by their adversary's spear point. Equally poignant are tales of warriors transformed by the desert's trials, where adversaries might later join forces drawing honor from the shared experiences of surviving such formidable conditions. After all, these sands allowed for only the temporary pettiness of war. Eventually, bonds forged or alliances formed under the weight of nature itself would unfurl beneath the vastness of common humanity. A new day dawns in the desert, and the echoes of past conflicts hang in the air, draped in golden luminescence. Here, in these sands where nations rose and fell, remains the understanding that victory isn't always about daring feats or displays of strength. It often lies in the respect and adaptability learned amidst nature's most relentless elements, a lesson passed down through generations, carried by winds across the ageless dunes. The desert asks patience, respect, and reverence, rewarding those with keen eyes, softer steps taken, and the wisdom to recognize that survival is the ultimate triumph. As the early light spreads across the desert, the once shadowy terrain begins to reveal itself, a golden tapestry rolling out towards the horizon. You are reminded of the ancient trade routes that wove through these sands, pathways that witnessed the march of cultures and the exchange of goods that reshaped worlds. Each grain of sand along this path might tell you tales of silk and spices, ideas and innovations carried by caravans that stitched continents together. These routes were not mere trails over vast emptiness. They were bustling highways of cultural exchange. Close your eyes and imagine camel trains laden with exotic goods, inching rhythmically across the dunes, weaving the economic fabric between east and west. It's a captivating thought, those medieval caravans navigating by stars, leaning into the rhythm of centuries, hearing the subtle commerce of the desert. Trading in these sands was as much about survival as it was about wealth. Caravans carried not just silk and spices, but precious salter substance, as crucial as any gem, prized in regions where it preserved life even more than its seasoned meals. Consider how the finite resource of salt turned into a lifeblood of empires, its gleaming grains exchanged with reverence amidst the sands under an indifferent sun. While on the surface these trails were about commerce, they were equally conduits for intellectual and cultural transfer. Each encounter along these paths offered a vibrant exchange of language, religion, and scientific thought, creating intersections of ideas in ways unseen by modern borders. The desert, with its seeming emptiness, became the world's richest library, absorbing knowledge from countless wanderers. Picture traders settling down for the night, their camp arranged into vibrant hubs of exchangeware-laden camels resting around, merchants chatting animatedly under cloth canopies, their discussions underscored by the crackling campfires and punctuated with rich, aromatic scents from culinary experiments. Such gatherings were fertile ground for the exchange of both goods and philosophies. From these desert encounters emerged philosophers, astronomers, and mathematicians, their intellects honed by the perseverance needed to cross such formidable terrain. It wasn't uncommon for a scholar to find themselves in vibrant discourse with a trader bearing tales from lands usually out of reach, their words paddling like ripples on the surface of a vast, connecting ocean. Historians often reflect upon these interactions, the cultural exchanges that shaped civilizations more profoundly than military conquest. Did these frontier marketplaces do more to shape empires than the castles and battles we remember? Such is the continuing debate as we unfurl the rich legacy left behind by these intrepid traders and their tireless voyages across the wilderness. And yet, amid the bustling exchange, trepidation loomed, a fear of bandits who haunted the trade routes like specters, threatening to undo the work of commerce in acts of sudden violence. This danger required traders to form alliances, peace pacts, forged in the understanding that shared fate held sway over personal enmity, communities protecting what separated them from oblivion. Imagine the practical know-how gained through such perilous exchange, caravan leaders calculating risk with a strategist's mind, balancing protection costs and potential profits, mingling bravado with the cool tenacity of the businessman at arms. These encounters among adversaries bred mutual respect, akin to the knights embodied in our myths, a fellowship formed in trenches, carved not by swords, but by words. Watching the shadows shrink under a climbing sun, it's easy to feel a kinship with those who came before, the humanity woven through these shifting sands, the stories encrypted by each footfall. Recognize how these trade routes, organic and evolving, shaped societies with the brush of sand and days spent beneath celestial compasses. Let it be these paths of cultural blossoming and exchange that remind you no desert, no matter how unyielding, remains impenetrable without gifts of innovation. Each step towards horizons unveils collective history left proudly amid nomadic souls, retreats a paradox, captured in travelers' exchanged smiles and symphonies alike. Indeed, in walking these timeless corridors, etched invisibly through grains, one glimpses humanity's tender resilience, with every trade negotiating the soulful dance between distant worlds, revealing true treasure as the artifacts of understanding etched across the eternal sands. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, its warmth begins to permeate the sand beneath your feet, a burgeoning reminder of the spice routes threading through this formidable landscape. These pathways were the arteries of medieval commerce, where spices transported over great distances could fetch a fortune, their value exceeding even gold. And so, here in this seemingly barren land, the air becomes imbued with memories of saffron, cumin, and cloves, the sense of distant lands carried like whispers through the arid air. Spices were much more than mere flavor enhancers. They were the currency of empires, shaping destinies and sealing treaties. You might imagine a caravan settling to camp as camel drivers safeguard precious cargo, nestled between elegant cloth and delicate pottery. These were treasures as clandestine as they were coveted, their aromatic allure inviting tales of swashbuckling intrigue. The desert routes, with their spectral windings, were more than just roads. They were testaments to the ingenuity and daring of traders, willing to face the scorching days and frigid nights for a chance at prosperity. Their journeys formed lifelines connecting east and west, linking nation to nation in a tapestry of commerce. The stakes were high, with potential riches offset by the lurking perils shadowing the horizon. Not everything about these routes was romantic, though. To truly understand their legacy, it's essential to see beyond the aromatic allure to the very real dangers that loomed. Bandits often hid in the crags and folds of dunes, waiting for the cloak of night to fall over an unsuspecting caravan. The valuable and tempting cargoes these traders carried made them prime targets for ambushes and robbery. Imagine a caravan in ferocious motion, men and beasts of burden scattered across the sands as whispers of an approaching threat shimmered through the air. The desert was an accomplice to neither seller nor thief. It remained indifferent to cries and curses alike, as shadows danced and tensions rose. Laughter one moment turned to screams the next, as security born from camaraderie met the stark chill of mortal risk under the desert's stars. Historians continue to debate whether these sporadic attacks were random acts of banditry or part of coordinated efforts driven by organized factions or renegade noble houses seeking profit far from scrutinizing eyes. However it was, the rugged expanse provided the perfect crucible that tested both character and conviction, and only the most resolute emerged intact. These threats demanded the formation of alliances among traders, creating networks of agreements that built protective bonds, cautious friendships rising out of necessity. Trusting others with your life and livelihood became a skill as vital as reading the stars. Such confederations offered tempers and tact, the knowledge of shared survival etched by each successful arrival at the next oasis or market town. Strides of solidarity into these lands don't merely ask courage. They showcase determination blooming, unwavering beneath harsh radiance. Those roots born of commerce became conduits for cultural fusion, bringing palettes and stories that flavored the medieval world with infinite variety and depth. Contemplating how such a complex network of routes could persist, you start to perceive how traders navigated not just the physical land, but the shifting sands of cultural awareness. This exchange of goods was also one of ideas, philosophies traveling alongside aromatic spices, seasoning the minds they encountered with new possibilities and perspectives. As midday wears on, and the timeless stretch of the desert extends its invitation, acknowledge the echoes of commerce, long past the weight of desires and ambitions, still balanced precariously upon improved days. The enduring trade network of the spice routes taught patience, unity, and imagination, whispering these values through every dune that witnessed thriving despite adversity. From these connections grew an intertwined sense of identity that transcended borders, a weaving of sight and scent, touch and taste into the rich tapestry you witness, today standing testament not only to human resilience, but to an unwavering passion for discovery. Emblematic are the sands, still silently preserving wisdom and memory through an unwavering frontier. Like collected grains, nothing is entirely forgotten within. Each whispered footfall upon spice root sands echoes the blending of humanity's past and future possibilities. As you continue across the sun-bathed sands, your steps echo the whispers of a forgotten world hidden beneath your feet. These deserts, once teeming with life and flourishing civilizations, hold the echoes of time relentlessly marching forward. It's a humbling thought that beneath the vast sea of sands lie the remnants of ancient cities and settlements, their stories buried, yet waiting to be unearthed by curious minds. Imagine for a moment the splendor of a once grand city, its towers spiraling towards the sky, marketplaces vibrant with chatter and the exchange of goods snow silent, their outlines claimed by the shifting sands. Scholars and archaeologists see these everyday patches of desert as tantalizing puzzles, each grain whispering secrets of history. While some cities are known, many still slumber hidden under centuries of accumulated earth, their echoes merely conjecture, interwoven with myth. Long ago, these once bustling cradles of civilizations thrived as centers of commerce, culture, and innovation. You find yourself drawn into the whisper of their faded glory, the laughter and cries of a lively bazaar, the ornate murals that decorated villa walls, and the wisdom drawn from temple schools. They were outposts of thriving societies, safe havens amid the stark severity of the desert until the sands inevitably reclaimed them. While digging through the annals of history, new interpretations arise. Say these cities fell prey to trade shifts or climate changes. Others claim they were engulfed by nomadic incursions. Historians still argue whether such decline came from external forces or from the internal discord sown within the walls themselves. Each theory is as tantalizing as it is ephemeral, leaving you to wander through possibility and intrigue. And though these cities might be lost to the sands, they cast shadows that encouraged new life elsewhere. Imagine travelers stumbling upon these ancient ruins in medieval times, redolent with mystery and allure. They served as both inspiration and warning to caravans passing by, offering silent reminders of past grandeur that drove men and women to question destiny's favor. Like echoes caught in time's shifting tide, impressions of such ruins were carried by traders into distant lands, spinning alluring tales of wealth and decline. Such narratives educated those who had never dared to confront the desert, prompting new generations to learn ways to carefully navigate these challenging terrains, navigating social currents as easily as they negotiated the barren landscape. Your shadow mingles with those of others who walked these routes before you, shrouded in the enigma of lost origins and stories unraveled from ancient tongues. Each footfall upon this hallowed ground feels like a cadence through history, each step another note in a sublime symphony that venerates past marvels through curiosity's enduring gaze. What of the people who dwelt within these long-lost metropolises? Were they scholars and artists, cudgeling crumbling frescoes into timeless masterpieces? Or farmers tilling meager soil, scraping for a living, clutching belief in cycles renewed by ephemeral rains? Their footprints frozen in the sands of destiny still tread on the margins of myth and reality, leaving myriad questions unanswered. Think, too, of the artifacts scattered amidst the dunes. Pottery shards carved with enigmatic scripts, stunning yet practical jewelry perhaps crafted by attentive hands, coinage passed along by merchants whose travels far exceeded the importance of the modest symbols they carried. They fuel your imagination, bridging an invitation to indulge in whimsical reconstruction or steadfast documentation. The wind sighs over forgotten things as if caressing the memories of lost generations, its touch gentle yet insistent on remembrance's edge. Each blow grants a fanciful glimpse of forget-me-nots, a swath of sun-kissed and sand-jeweled testimony to the ongoing dialogue between past and present. Meditate on these awe-inducing insights brought forth by enchanted explorers and acolytes of the sands, the potential discoveries awaiting discovery by those brave enough to unveil history preserved against the ceaseless winds of time. Beneath your feet, the vestiges of these ancient ruins, sleep waiting for the day when sand and time relent, revealing the stories that lie beneath to awestruck eyes and open hearts seeking truth. As the day lengthens and shadows crawl once more towards the horizon, you draw this history close, warmed by the knowledge that, beneath the unassuming desert facade, civilizations dream yet, casting inspiration like stardust, falling gently across the epochs and urging you ever onward. As you venture further into the vast desert landscape, your thoughts drift towards the unseen presence that seems to linger here, palpable sense of the spiritual, interwoven with the stark beauty of the sands. The desert is a place of profound mystery, where nature's vastness dwarfs the individual, and the boundaries between the earthly and the ethereal blur. You can almost sense the whispers of ancient spirits on the wind, carrying tales of times long past. In medieval times, the desert was not only a challenge of survival, but also a spiritual crossroads where the earthly realm touched the divine. It was a place of introspection and solitude, where the natural world offered both refuge and revelation. Travelers believed that the silent vastness of the desert allowed them to commune with higher powers, to find clarity amidst the dunes. The spirits of the desert are part of the lore handed down through generations, their stories woven into the fabric of everyday life. Picture a solitary figure standing atop a dune, arms raised to the heavens, offering prayers to unseen deities for protection and guidance. These moments of quiet reflection held deep significance, a connection to both ancestors and the celestial, offering hope amidst the challenges of a harsh reality. Such spirituality wasn't merely about worship, but was deeply intertwined with the rhythms of nature. The cycles of the moon, the shifting sands, and the whispering winds were all seen as manifestations of a greater power, divine tapestry, guiding human existence. For those willing to listen, the desert spoke in a language all its own, offering wisdom and peace to the seeker. Historians have long debated the origins and beliefs surrounding these desert spirits. Were they remnants of ancient religions clinging to the edges of civilization, or were they fresh manifestations born of necessity and isolation? Regardless, the spiritual presence in the desert provided a sense of continuity, a bridge between the known and the unknown, the earthly and the eternal. You find yourself pondering how these beliefs influenced the everyday lives of medieval people. How, amidst the grind of daily survival, did they find solace in these spiritual connections? It's a reminder that even when faced with immense challenges, the human spirit seeks meaning beyond the tangibly an interplay of faith and resilience as vast as the desert itself. Consider the sacred places hidden within the desert's folds. Remote shrines where travelers pause to give thanks or seek counsel, stone cairns marking significant sites of spiritual importance. These are places where the veil between worlds felt thinner, where the air seemed charged with divine energy, the sands beneath your feet hallowed by countless footsteps of pilgrims and seekers. Even in times of dire need, when water ran scarce and shadows lengthened ominously, these spiritual connections offered strength and persistence. The desert spirits became companions, silent witnesses to the unfolding drama of life, a celestial audience to the theatre of mortality played out beneath the endless sky. Amidst this grand silence, one might entertain the whimsy of desert spirits with a sense of humor, casting mirage-like tricks to test the resilience and resolve of those crossing the sands. Imagine them whispering challenges and invitations to travelers, nudging them along with gentle encouragement, or mischievous detours, a reminder that laughter and lightness accompany even the most solemn journeys. As the sun drifts higher, casting long shadows like sundials across the dunes, you are enveloped by this spiritual aura, recognizing that your journey is woven into a much larger tapestry of existence. The spirits of the desert are with you, guiding your steps, urging you to understand that the sands beneath your feet are but a fleeting moment in the grand scheme of time. Permit the desert's whispers to be your guides, offering pathways as unseen as they are understood, a perspective handed down through centuries. Engage, if you dare, with the stories beyond what the eye perceives, stirring the ancient within, until your spirit resonates with these narratives, creating a connection that spans both realms of existence. In the end, the spiritual essence of the desert is an everlasting melody, echoing through the ages, one that invites those upon its sands to dance to nature's rhythm and embrace the mystery with open hearts and minds. Through the spirits of the desert, you find an unyielding link to eternity, a chance to partake in a collective dream, whispered through time's unending sands. As the day unfolds, the sun ascends to its zenith, blanketing the desert in a blazing embrace. The heat is a formidable adversary, an omnipresent force that demands respect from all who traverse these ancient sands. It's a challenge that has tested medieval travelers for centuries, a relentless companion by day that only relents under the veil of night. The heat can be unyielding, with each ray penetrating your very being as it radiates off the shimmering desert floor. Your skin feels taut as though the sun were drawing it tighter with every passing moment, a sensation reminiscent of standing too close to an open flame. It is here, under this oppressive sun, that the desert reveals its most daunting aspect. With the air shimmering in distorted waves, you understand why the sun was often feared and revered in equal measure. Imagine the medieval traveler, swathed in layers of protective cloth, navigating this harsh landscape with determined strides. For them, the heat wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a living adversary, sculpting the rhythm of their journey and demanding every ounce of resourcefulness. Ancient remedies and age-old wisdom were their allies against such an unyielding foe, each decision carefully considered to conserve strength and life. Interestingly, heat wasn't the only danger. Sandstorms loomed like specters at the periphery of awareness, ready to rise up without warning. These billowing tempests of sand and wind could transform the landscape in moments, engulfing travelers in fierce currents of whirling grit. The medieval traveler had to be ever vigilant, constantly reading the wind for signs of an impending storm. As the telltale signs of a sandstorm gathered in unsettling stillness, a sudden shift in wind direction, medieval travelers would hurriedly secure their camels, don protective gear, and hunker down against nature's fury. The sandstorm was both a spectacle and a peril, its approach akin to the role of a musical crescendo, a force of nature that tested the resolve and ingenuity of those facing it head-on. Historians continue to debate the effectiveness of various protective measures used during these times. Did travelers truly believe the stories of desert spirits guiding them through the storms, or were these tales crafted to offer comfort amidst the chaos? Regardless of what they believed, survival often hinged on quick and decisive action, turning potential disaster into a mere footnote of their journey. And yet, Despite the seeming wrath of the storm, there is an exquisite beauty to it, a swirling ballet of elements that binds travelers to the natural world in a profound way. Every gust carries grains of history, every swirl a glimpse into the artistry of nature's canvas, etching memories in the sky and sand. The humor in the situation is not lost. Imagining seasoned travelers looking up at the gathering clouds, sighing with a wry smile. Ah, another impromptu dance lesson from the desert, shall we? As the storm settles and the heat reclaims its dominance, you are reminded of the patience required to endure such an environment. The medieval traveler understood that patience was more than a virtue. It was a strategy for survival. The ability to read the desert's signals, to move with its rhythms, and to respect its might was essential to navigating the landscape. Yet, within this challenge, lies the feeling of accomplishment. Each day successfully traversed is a testament to resilience, a triumph over the obstacles presented by an indifferent environment. The desert demands both respect and adaptation, rewarding those who heed its lessons with the deep satisfaction of having walked its sands. As the sun begins its slow descent, casting long shadows across the land, you see how the heat and storms, with all their intensity, are but fleeting visitors upon this eternal stage. Through them, you gain an appreciation for the harmony and balance that sustains life here. The desert's trials are a reminder of the delicate dance between human will and nature's power, and your footsteps carry this newfound understanding into the encroaching twilight. In the fading warmth as dusk softly approaches, you carry the echoes of heat and storm as both challenge and guide. The sands rest once more under starlight's watchful eyes, and the desert's voice, though tempered by the night, continues its eternal song, a testament to the resilience of those daring enough to embrace this timeless dance. As the sun begins to set, the searing desert heat starts to subside, replaced by the cool embrace of the evening. The relief is palpable, offering a brief respite from the day's unyielding warmth. But even in this cooling twilight, the pressing reality of food scarcity in the desert quickly comes to the forefront of your thoughts. Deprivation and resourcefulness go hand in hand here, where medieval travelers learned the art of making do with meager provisions. In this vast ocean of sand, the concept of a lavish feast feels almost like a distant memory, for the desert permits no indulgence. The medieval traveler was a master of rationing, skilled in stretching supplies across the endless terrain, aware that it's not just about the quantity, but the mindful distribution of what little is available. You ponder the ancient grains and dried fruits, dates and figs, which were popular provisions for desert travelers. These light, nutritious foods could withstand the extreme conditions and weight of long journeys. You can easily imagine a weary wanderer reaching into a pouch, producing a handful of dates that would provide both sustenance and a reminder of the comforts from more fertile lands. Such simple fare might come with a touch of imagination, a bit of poetry, perhaps as medieval travelers shared stories to accompany their meals, transforming the mundane into a moment of camaraderie. After all, meals were occasions, no matter how modest, to form bonds and share laughter, a kind of fellowship among the dunes. Rationing was both a science and an art, practiced by traders and guides who knew the mathematics of survival intimately. Imagine drawing up a plan as detailed as any battle strategy, each day's provisions carefully measured, packed, and accounted for. Perhaps a welcome distraction from the humdrum of the journey was offered by this careful inventory, its completion as satisfying as a puzzle perfectly aligned. Historians still wonder about the extent of culinary creativity among medieval desert wanderers. Was their cuisine born purely of necessity? Or did it involve a masterful combination of available resources and personal flair, turning necessity into unexpected delight? The debate continues, adding flavor to the annals of history. In the playful yet practical balance of desert cuisine, the imagination finds a place as vital as a pinch of salt or drop of water, with ancient recipes still exchanged by Bedouin tribes and camel drivers, passed down generation to generation. These are more than simple meals. They are whispered secrets for sustaining not just the body, but the soul amidst endless travail. Alongside their daily food rations, many travelers carried spices to enhance every bite, a nod to the trade routes woven throughout history. Even a scant sprinkle of cumin or coriander could transform a humble meal into a rich tapestry of taste, a nod to cultures beyond the desert's reach. Despite and perhaps even because of these austere dining moments, humour found a place among travellers. With the last of the daylight fading, imagine a circle of companions, sharing jokes that compared their monotonous rations to banquets under royal banners. Each jest, though slight, became itself a sustenance derived of sunbeams fair, mirth and energy renewed like moonlit waterholes. In the flowering darkness, as you reflect upon the scarcity that shapes every mouthful, your thoughts naturally return to how sustenance's provision necessitates far more than its mere mechanical consumption. It creates interwoven connections, infinitely layered across time's fabric. So it is that survival in the desert depends just as much on solidarity as on rations. A shared meal, simple though it may be, can provide a sense of community that makes the isolation more bearable. Stories nourish the spirit, spices awaken taste buds, and the simple act of sharing accounted for one more step on the long journey ahead. As you rest among the dunes, with only the stars to keep you company, you understand how food, in its paucity, was a unifying thread among travellers and a bridge across vast expanses. It was as much a part of the journey as the sands themselves, a tribute to resilience and the enduring interplay of human collaboration amidst the endless choreography of the desert night. Amidst this silence, cast thoughts towards your own culinary creations, perhaps folded into sweet dreams, evoking a warmth tempered by cool night winds and sustained by imagination's enduring banquet of possibilities. In the softly whispered night, beneath twinkling sky, each monastic repast, bringing continuity and communion to roads left untrodden, in delight's expectation therein. The deepening night holds its breath, enveloping the desert in a cloak of profound silencia, vast, unbroken pause that speaks volumes on its own. This stillness stretches outward, filling the space between you and the horizon with a serenity that quiets the racing mind. It's as if the desert, in its infinite wisdom, understands the restorative power of quiet, a reminder of what life was like for medieval travellers beneath the starlit sky. Imagine the enveloping cocoon of silence taking hold as you settle down after a long day's journey. In a world where noise is inescapable, here in the desert, silence becomes a gift. Each inhalation of the cool, crisp air is an invitation to reflect, to savor the absence of sound. The desert's tranquility invites contemplation, a release from worldly concerns as the universe offers its own ethereal conversation. This sense of silence, however, is not an empty void. Even as the desert stretches outward under the moon's gentle gaze, you become acutely aware of the subtle symphony woven within it. The desert is a master of understatement. Its silence serves as the foundation upon which small sounds resonate deeply. The whisper of wind across the dunes, the skittering feet of a nocturnal creature, distant echoes of the past carried by the breeze. Consider travellers of old, who might have seen this silence as sacred a blank canvas on which to inscribe their hopes, dreams, and fears. Medieval rovers knew the value of solitary reflection as they journeyed across the desert, the silence nudging them towards introspection against the vastness that surrounded them. Here, nature's persistent quiet allowed thoughts to roam freely, creating a meditative backdrop that encouraged self-discovery and resilience. While historians debate whether such silent contemplation inspired philosophical breakthroughs or simply offered respite from chaos, one truth is undeniable. The silence of the desert was an integral aspect of the harsh beauty that defined these lands. Even amid the noise of a bustling caravan, silence became an oasis, all its owner, brief but necessary pause to recalibrate in harmony with the environment. In this serene quiet, humour finds a surprisingly welcome home. Imagine a weary traveller jokingly chiding their fellow companions for waking the spirits of the sands with a misplaced footfall or exaggerated sigh. The gentle camaraderie born from shared silence is palpable, a testament to the enduring spirit of those who sought comfort not in material things, but in each other's presence. As you rest upon the cooled sands, you recognize how the quietude brings clarity to your thoughts. It distills intention and meaning, like ripples widening across still water, allowing for an unseen yet deeply felt connection to form with those who walked this path before. The desert silence weaves generations together, its threads invisible yet tensile, a reminder that some stories are told not through sound, but through the quiet reflection of shared experience. The quiet also reminds us to respect the value of patience, to understand the necessity of slowness in a world often too hurried. Desert silence teaches that tranquility contains its own power, a soothing balm that nourishes the soul and readies the mind for challenges that await beyond the dawn. Beneath this peaceful sky, one might remember learning to listen. For whispers in the wind, the nuanced sounds of the sands moving in gentle cascades as they settle into new formations, the soft presence of history tracing familiar paths around a campfire's luminous glow. Each whisper becomes a part of the enduring melody, singing praises to the realm above and the world below. In the embrace of solitude, you feel connected to something greater, the countless souls who found solace and inspiration amidst the desert silence. It is here, surrounded by stillness deeper than time, where you find solace in the presence of the universe, cocooned within the folds of nature's endless, patient quiet. As the night unfolds in silent splendor, let the words once spoken by travelers long past guide you forward. Fill your mind with dreams woven into the very fabric of this earth. In the silence, you become a part of the desert's song, each heartbeat a note strummed upon the instrument of ages, a reminder of the timeless beauty that can only be found in the quiet moments between breaths. As the night weaves its rich, star-studded mantle across the sky, you feel a growing sense of companionship with the timeless desert. The solitude that marked your journey through the sand dunes begins to shift, replaced by the imagined presence of loyal companions, desert camels, the enduring ships of the desert, those silently stoic creatures who have hefted burdens across long miles with ungainly grace. Imagine the scene. A camel silhouetted against the moonlit dunes, its shadow stretching long and languid over the sand. These animals have been indispensable partners to travelers since time immemorial, trusted with valuable cargoes and, more importantly, with lives. It's easy to see why they earned their place as the quintessential desert transport, able to cover vast distances without water, where others would falter. Your mind's eye conjures the plodding rhythm of the caravan, a harmonious procession of humans and camels making their way through sand-shifting landscapes. Serene and resilient, these creatures seem tailor-made for the very environment they traverse there. Broad, cushioned feet spreading lightly over the surface, their bodies designed to store energy like the desert stores secrets. For medieval travelers, camels represented more than mere beast of burden. They were guides through the desert, companions in silence, each step forward rhythmically covering the vast stretches of emptiness with soundless footsteps. A camel's temperament, patient and innately aware, reflected a quiet wisdom that, over centuries, imbued legends and lore with their enduring spirit of fortitude. Yet there's a charm and playfulness about these creatures, present even amidst such serious endeavors. Imagine a medieval trader chuckling at a camel's stubborn streak, a reminder that this partner, despite the trust given, approached its tasks with distinctive character. Humor, the light-hearted balm in the harsh, dry air, was not lost amid serious exploits. Its style a sly wink, a camel-made legend with tales that contained life's ironies, served with humility's smile. Historians continue to debate the domestication of camels and their adaptation to desert life. Did these animals naturally evolve to become such paragons of endurance, or is their temperament a testament to the profound partnership with humankind? No matter the origin, the relationship between humans and camels created an unyielding alliance, a tandem capable of conquering the desert's seemingly impassable expanse. As you rest beside these noble creatures, you become attuned to their cue, the lean of a neck, turned towards a distant shimmer, detecting unseen movement, the flick of ears anticipating a shift in weather, unfelt by hairless skin. The camel's instincts are honed through generations of survival, imparting lessons captured not by written word, but through silent shared passage across sand's unfathomable breadth. Reflecting upon this companionable existence, you sense the community fostered within such a caravan, where camel and traveler alike found connection within shared purpose. Each member played a role, contributing to a seamless dance of interdependent steps, beasts, driven by human ingenuity, human hearts buoyed by their steadfast fellows. Consider the stories etched in time, tales of bonding amidst dune-filled crossings, where companions found warmth not just in blankets or fire glow, but in camaraderie shared with these creatures of the desert. Imagine the sigh of relief upon reaching an oasis, eyes meeting with gratitude for the steadfast companionship along the arduous trailers. Quiet understanding passed between soft noses and weary hands, crossing words either unable to catch or needing none. Throughout the restless moonlit night, as the silence pervades, there emerges a deeper understanding of partnership in its simplest and most profound form. Those steps you now retrace epitomize humanity's ancient fundamental relationship with the camel, a path still walked by those who tread softly on desert soil, relying upon its dependable guardianship. As dawn approaches, drawing yet another expedition back to life under sun's rising gaze, you carry the call of companionship resonating through the night. These memories, bound not in spoken word, but in shared experience, become part of your story that echoes with the rhythm of camel hooves, gently scoring your heart and guiding hopes, eternal through star-sprinkled sand and light. The desert night, with its soothing chill and expansive sky, renders walking an almost meditative experience. Each step you take becomes both ritual and necessity, an act that carries you closer to where you need to be while keeping you rooted to the present moment. It's only in such a landscape that walking reveals itself as a profound ritea, spiritual, mental, and physical journey all at once. In the desert, walking is an exercise in persistence. The monotony could easily lead to ennui, yet it also offers clarity. Here, amid the expanse, the act of putting one foot in front of the other becomes a meditation, grounding and focusing the wanderer amidst the relentless sands. Imagine those medieval travelers, cocooned in their perseverance, setting their faces towards distant horizons. Their minds might have wandered back to towns and loved ones left behind, or their thoughts might have danced ahead to unknown destinations. Walking, therefore, was not merely a function of reaching a goal, but an exploration of the self and the world, an interminable dialogue between terrain and soul. Walking opens the senses. Amidst the cadence of footfalls, you become aware of the grains shifting underfoot, the subtle changes in terrain, the silent whisper of your passage recorded in ephemeral tracks immediately claimed by the wind. Unlike the rush of modern travel, here in the sands, time stretches gracefully, enfolding you in the age-old rhythm of the earth. Yet there is humor too within these endless steps, a lightness that tempers the routine. Imagine our medieval friends casting gentle jests at one another, playfully exaggerating their endless endeavor. I'm sure my boots have walked us this path before, yet they leave me no memory. Such quips, while steeped in playful frustration, serve to fill gaps and foster unity among traveling mobs. Historians examine the psychological effects of these extended treks, pondering whether the monotony bred artistry or discovery. Was it a forge for ingenuity, propelling minds towards unprecedented ideas, or did it simply lull consciousness into meditative peace? This enigma remains an eternal conversation between scholars and sands, but within walking's simplicity emerges varied depths, contemplative state, facilitated by silence, isolating and harmonizing thoughts, encountering contrasts both internal and external. Each traveler, be they merchant or mystic, monarch or scholar, partook in a shared pilgrimage. Their journals, verbal records transcribed like skeletal graffiti, crisscrossing still-existent memories, served as testaments of learning fostered through exposure, inquiry, reflection. For those encircling your solitary road now, their footsteps echo across miles unmeasured yet unchanged. Beneath starry eons, you trace cycles recurring among timeless paths, weaving your own line along roads well trodden, shared by myriad souls throughout the centuries. The desert might be an empty stage, yet it's brimming with stories of those who walked before and those who will walk again. Imagine walking as the quotable bard of space, etching stories upon desert's surface while scripting echoes within heartbeats answered beyond echo's rim. This simple act becomes the song of connection, encircling separation to knit experiences deeper than lime-crossed wanders, enhancing history with every subtle inhalation. And so it continues, within vastness unending and horizons unfurling, where the act of walking retains profound significance each, shift of earth, pivot of balance, confers unceremonious authenticity to timeless experience and ephemeral vitality, guiding its participants from past through present onto futures now unseen, whispering onward into eternal night. As the first hues of dawn break across the landscape, you are reminded of how walking connects more than landscapes. It unites moments. In the sea of sand, you walk not for the destination, but rather to embrace the entire journey. Legs ache with fulfillment, mind spins subtly in wisdom's gravity, and amidst the dance between solitude and solidarity, each step finds purpose and peace in the profound simplicity of moving forward. As the horizon begins to blush with the first light of dawn, a delicate line between night and day, you find yourself teetering at the edge of a dreamer mirage of sleep amidst the vast, undulating terrain. The medieval desert, with its stark beauty and unrelenting challenges, cloaks itself in a kind of insomnia, leaving travelers both exhausted and enchanted by the rhythm of its ever-present mysteries. In the heart of the desert, the notion of sleep becomes an illusion within reach, yet always elusive. Here, under the expansive sky, finding rest isn't merely laying down but surrendering to the vastness, allowing yourself to be gently cradled by the sands as the world slips away into a meditation of stillness. You imagine those medieval travelers, worn by days under the sun and nights beneath an ocean of stars, wrestling with the promise of slumber, their bodies weary, their minds filled with the day's journey. They would seek solace in the softness of the sands, their beds formed by patience and acceptance. Sleep here was both retreat and luxury, precious both for its rarity and necessity. Historians often debate the role of dreams among desert wayfarers. Did they view these experiences as omens guided by the spirits of the sands, or mere figments formed in the cauldron of fatigue and imagination? In a place where the boundary between the ethereal and the tangible blurs, it's easy to understand how dreams took on a life of their own, narratives intertwining with the waking world. Yet, sleep itself could become a paradoxical challenge. As soon as your mind begins to settle, the cool of the desert night prompts a shiver, a reminder of worldly concerns pulling you back to consciousness. Each starlit breath might hold a subtle note of laughter and amused murmur at the traveler's plight, offering both wit and wry wisdom. Imagine a traveler eavesdropping on tales spun by companions, designed to usher in tired eyes. Ah, I recall the night when a yawn born of moonbeams reached so far it tripped upon sunrise. Such quips might not stave off insomnia, but would certainly lighten hearts and remind companions of the shared strangeness that accompanies wandering. But there exists a strategy, born of desert pragmatism, that involves melding the lines between wake and dreamer, soft acceptance of rest in small doses, allowing half sleep to carry you through the night. Each moment becomes precious, a sifting of rest intermingling with thoughts, like sand pouring between fingers in a subtle dance of restoration. This skill, honed through necessity, reflects the adaptability of medieval travelers. It's a testament to their resilience, mastering the art of finding renewal, even in the grip of fatigue and sandstorms, embracing the night, not just as a period of rest, but as another phase of their journey. And while sleep may come fitfully between whispers of wind and the call of nocturnal creatures, there's solace in this rhythm. Each sigh of the dunes lulls a travelling heart, cradling it gently amidst the tranquility of celestial ski singing softly to remind. In the desert, even the quest for sleep can be both a struggle and a symphony. As the night transitions into the faint glow of dawn, you hold onto the quiet contemplation that lives at the boundary between dream and daylight. Here, beneath the sun's first tender fingers, your path unfolds again with clarity found within the desert's embrace. In both rest and restlessness, you carry the desert within, an awareness that even the briefest hint of sleep holds value, fleeting embrace that tempers the journey with compassion. And as the new day stretches lazily across the sands, you rise within its promise, guided by the wisdom cradled in desert dreams and the journeys that begin anew with every sunrise. As the first light of dawn delicately touches the horizon, the desert awakens to a brand new canvas. The beginning of a new day offers a sense of promise, a gentle reminder that each night's passing brings the rejuvenating embrace of morning. The horizon, tinged with amber and rose, stretches out infinitely, blurring the lines that separate Earth and sky, a shifting boundary that has sparked imagination and wonder in travelers for centuries. The horizon holds a mystique, one that has beckoned adventurers, dreamers, and scholars to explore what lies beyond. For medieval travelers, it was both a beacon and a mystery, known to signal newfound land, yet also delivering an ever-vanishing challenge just out of reach. Each step closer seemed to taunt with more sand, more sky, an eternal procession of discovery, urging one ever onward. Imagine the traders of old, scanning the horizon with watchful eyes, anticipating what awaited them on the other side of the dunes. Was there an oasis, a village, or another caravan bringing news and goods from distant lands? The horizon was a book of possibilities, waiting to be unfolded. The literacy of landscapes where new chapters began with every crested ridge. Yet, the allure of the horizon often gave rise to scholarly debates among the medieval minds. Historians delight in retelling tales of horizon-laden conjectures and enthusiastic arguments about how far one's eyes could truly perceive beyond reality. This spatial paradox, a simple meeting line between sky and earth, brought endless delight to those pondering its bounds, shaped by imagination's unyielding possibilities. But the horizon's power extended beyond mere geography or curiosity. It symbolized hope, the promise of change, and the assurance of something beyond the current moment. To dreamers and travelers, it offered limitless potential, encouraging journeys both literal and metaphorical. In this infinite stretch where sand meets sky, adventurers found encouragement to go places they had never been, and find strength within themselves they never realized adorned their spirit. Across generations, the horizon's undulating glow became synonymous with human perseverance and tenacity. It stands as an emblem of aspirations, propelling the human spirit to endure and achieve, even when the path seems unending. No matter how difficult one's journey was, or how weary one's steps became, there lay hope cradled against that distant line, the promise of something worth moving toward, keeping your heart full with intent. Today, as you watch the colors bloom upon the morning sky, you carry this ancient emblem as part of your own pilgrimage. The horizon is no longer just a visual spectacle, but an idea, concept that has guided countless souls to new opportunities with every waxing and waning day. Its timeless allure speaks beyond language, bridging divides and whispering dreams wrought by its hushed song born of shining skies. You might smile, amused by an imagined quip. To follow the horizon is to chase a mirage, except this one brings you home. The humor in pursuing such a perfect infinity lies not in catching it, one imagines, but within the learning encountered by walking such lines ablaze with potential, accompanied by a wry understanding shared by those who stepped before. So, as dawn paints anew by light's sustained hand, you feel the pull of the horizon coursing through you. Let it be both invitation and challenger guide, urging discovery, a reliable friend that accompanies you throughout life's unexpected gains and winding treks. Amidst its call resides the power to illuminate not just your path but your purpose. Embrace what lies beyond, trusting that the journey toward the horizon reveals truths that unfold with each forward footfall. It's not a destination, but the embodiment of exploration itself, offering transformation in every glimmer, encouraging steps blessedly aligned between here and there, upon the continuum that folds and unfolds landscape, unknown and dream pursued. As the sun rises higher, you feel its warmth highlight your purpose, inviting you toward a horizon that dances on the edge of reality, promising a future woven by the past and threaded into the present moment's embrace. Stepping forward, you find balance in its romance, with endless spins of light and hope above, beginning anew as you stride beneath the steady beat of daylight that follows, lingering like ancient traces in the evergreen sands. With the sun warming the horizon and the day's journey stretching ahead, the desert reveals an intricate tapestry of paths, interwoven by countless travelers from ages past. Each footstep upon the sand is a silent testament to those who have walked this land before, footprints of time etched in the ever-shifting canvas. In the desert's boundless expanse, you become acutely aware of the temporal tapestry, binding past to present, an intricate dance of fleeting moments preserved by the sands beneath your feet. the desert seems alive with history, whispering tales of those unseen feet which pressed upon its surface long ago. These hidden pathways, marked by ephemeral impressions, speak of expeditions and pilgrimages, mystics and merchants, who once journeyed across this vast open space. Like ghosts cast in shadow by time, their traces linger, a reminder of human perseverance and connectivity. For the medieval traveller, the desert was a living chronicle. Key passages remembered not by written text, but through the very act of being, each journey recorded in the traverse of earth. Imagine the sense of wonder experienced by those who paused amidst sublime silence to contemplate the faint impressions left by a distant caravan, contemplating ancestors who paved paths where their own adventures now began unfolding anew. Historians quibble over whether medieval routes were shaped by practicality or legend, by heritage or the unknown beckoning beyond. Was a chosen path determined by the rising sun's gilded fingers, whispering prophecy, or dictated by the terrain beneath their sandals? Perhaps both, and therein lies the true allure of these fabled trajectories, marked only by decades, centuries unscripted beyond their unfurling dusks. As each footprint interlaces with those that preceded it, you find humor in the desert's paradoxical nature, preserving nothing and everything simultaneously. Whispering grain against skin conjures visions of ancient travelers, discovering these mischievously ephemeral trails, sparking laughter shared, despite language veils that separate time. Were they just as bewildered when confronted with their vanished trail marker harbingers of directions sure and true, until the wind carried them away without so much as a farewell? But the desert's impermanence holds a sacred honesty. In its forgetful embrace lies the truth that presence is ephemeral, yet eternal, written by unseen hands across desert skies that span generations. The desert teaches that time is less a linear construct than a series of concentric circles spiraling inward and outward moments, connecting souls long gone to those yet to venture, spinning an intricate story unfurling like shifting illuminated sandscapes at dawn's tender grace. Immersed in contemplation, you envision those medieval travelers interpreting these paths, pondering the interconnectedness of life's tapestry-arched track, both interplay and interplay, coaxing curiosity to question what it might find revealed within sand's timeless mix. Despite the illusion of isolation, these shifting patterns found unity woven into vast fabrics of the landscape. It's amidst this contemplation that sense emerges a delicate thread tracing humanity's tie to Earth's eternal dance. And while the paths may change form, the underlying current holds sway, a pulse rippling through unseen veins, guiding each step across time, creating newfound memories with each impression. As daylight settles into familiarity, the desert becomes more than geography, it transforms into storied legacy, encouraging travelers to engage with echoes of guidance sent by the sandy past. Here, amidst the whisper of the dunes and drift of the breeze, one finds legacy outlined in footprints that carry the essence of discovery. Such revelation invites participation, inviting you to trace the infinite loops of presence embraced by vacancy. Emboldened by understanding, you step forward, attuned to the harmony between Earth's whispers and life's cadence-speaking moments, emblems of timeless poetry that continue to dance upon the symphony of ancient sands and promise, interwoven and expressed through the ages. In these footsteps, in these shadows, you embrace the lineage of those who journeyed long before, crafting your tale amidst their woven dance. So find your passage, your path marked softly under each dune's embrace, guided always by the rhythm of unseen epochs and the footprints that tell their stories beneath and above. As the sun dips once more toward the horizon, the desert reveals its softer hues, and a gentle breeze carries an elusive melody through the air. It is a hauntingly beautiful song composed of whispers, the kind only heard in the solitude of the desert night, when the vastness allows your spirit to wander freely. This melody, woven into the very fabric of the dunes, echoes the stories and spirits that inhabit the sands. In the medieval era, travelers believed the desert itself held a voice, a harmonious blend of wind against rock and sand, each note resonating across the boundless landscape. These melodies became companions to those who journeyed beneath the endless sky, a reminder that forever wandered through seas of sand listens, mirroring the soul's deepest desires and fears. Imagine the medieval desert under starlight, where travelers huddled close around their campfires, entranced by the celestial symphony mirrored above and below. Each note in the desert song seemed to tell a story, a lineage traced through eons, whispering of times past and hopes yet to be fulfilled. In this infinite choir, conducted by unseen hands, everyone found a role to play, their contributions rippling quietly across dunes. But beyond its auditory beauty, the desert melody held deeper significance here, a reminder of the soul's inner journey, an exploration of timeless truths that echoed inward more than outward. It was a musical map guiding innermost thoughts, encouraging reflection as naturally as it synchronized footsteps upon the endless expanse. Historians have often wondered if these stories were myths woven by imaginative minds or divine communication with the cosmos. Did medieval travelers experience visions during these desert crossings, instigated by melodies crafted within the void? Such inquiries dance between the realms of history and imagination, the answers elusive as a mirage on a hot day. The desert's melody was also one of resilience, a lullaby of survival that sang the praises of those who dared to face its challenges not with fear, but with reverence and awe. Amidst this musical asylum, travelers found comfort, a space to listen quietly to the wisdom of the ages and to reflect on the unity between earth and sky, a binding song held within every breath. Think of the gentle humor that might arise from these acoustical discoveries, camaraderie found through shared appreciation of the enigmatic tunes. Perhaps the travelers jested about the origin of the winds, bantering about the nocturnal contact shared by wandering spirits, and the earthbound storytellers fortunate enough to hear them. By day, the melody dissolved under the sun's fierce light, retreating into softness until dusk again summoned its symphonic return. The desert became a conduit, filtering the notes of the past and future through the now. Asterisk. Each stop along this endless track contributed another layer to the ensemble's ethereal weave, enriching both journey and destination. In quiet contemplation, you recognize the beauty of joining this eternal harmony, where melodies echo through moments and memories alike, linking every soul with the earth's intricate tapestry. These songs are the ghosts of eras born upon desert breezes, keeping vigil over both travelers and terrain, tracing symphonic line upon line across an eternal score. As dusk unfurls its shade, listen carefully to the desert's echo-staking solace in knowing you are part of this symphony eternal. Through every note sung among these melodic dunes, your presence contributes to the legacy, multiplying harmony's whispers throughout the vast expanse of time. As you lose yourself within this melody, it becomes both guide and guardian, protecting all who dare to wander amidst the desert's mysteries. Embrace the eternal hum, as both witness and partaker within breathe softly, along with its notes vibrant, carrying secrets from time's cradle beyond night's embrace. In the stillness, honor the desert as the maestro of invisible harmonies that once sung become embodiments of its vital cadence. Even when moving onward, carry the music within these ethereal refrains written across night's veil will linger, echoes of harmony slipping into your waking world as companions in perpetual resonance. Life continues amidst their Oasis desert cherishing silence, adorned perpetual by whispered song and prized vision. As the desert night is slowly kissed by the first tender light of dawn, you find yourself nearing the end of your journey. Under the fading stars, the landscape starts to emerge from its shadowy shroud, unveiling the soft contours of dunes and the delicate textures of sand that reflect centuries of secrets and stories. Almost home, the desert has been both harsh companion and gentle guide, enveloping you in its timeless embrace. The closing curtain on this desert odyssey finds you surrounded by the echoes of travelers past, carrying their courage and dreams in a quiet hum that permeates the air. You feel a deepened respect for those who ventured before, understanding that the journey is less about the destination and more about the internal evolution sparked by the silent dialogue between earth and self. Every whisper of the wind, every grain of sand has participated in this nightly Belita performance, not of showy grandeur, but of the understated elegance found in the symbiosis between human and nature, the tangible and the ethereal. As the sun approaches, these connections forge a pathway beyond mere survival, leading to unexpected revelations and enlightenment. Closing your eyes, listen intently to the receding night sound show. They harmonize with the quiet promise of a new day. The desert has a way of revealing truths buried beneath the veneer of daily preoccupations, challenging you to step lightly yet deliberately into the tapestry. It offers a continuum of infinite tales and possibilities. And as you've discovered, this journey, though solitary, is far from lonely. Each step along the desert's spine links you to an endless lineage of kinship that transcends time, where ancient dreams and fleeting modern aspirations converge in a dance uninterrupted by distance or years. Imagining those medieval wanderers who have walked before you, it's easy to feel a sense of gratitude, a whisper echoing through the winds, comforting and encouraging like an old friend. Their journeys illuminate yours, lighting the path with the wisdom only gained from union with the sand timeless nights reflecting stars across their expansive sprawl. This boundless desert has carried you through the night, teaching patience and endurance, unveiling the acumen hidden within silence and starlight. Your heart beats a little slower, your mind a bit clearer, as each lesson intertwines with the soft awakening of the dawn's promisor, gentle benediction after the night's challenges. Finally, as the encroaching sunlight sparkles its first beams across the sands, pause to reflect on the transformation wrought by walking in such ancient footsteps. Embrace the dawning awareness that your journey here is not lauded simply for its end, but for the mosaic of memories crafted lovingly throughout stories, long witnessed by the desert's unwavering gaze. With each footstep receding into golden light, turn an unspoken vow inward, to carry forth these lessons beyond the desert's edge, integrating the whispered wisdom of the sands into the daily cadence of your returning world. Let the desert's music, the melodies of those bygone travelers, remind you to embrace every journey with open heart and waking spirit. And so, dear traveler, as the first light unfolds across the desert plain, awaken to the endless possibilities gestured into morning, allowing woven sands to strengthen resolve within newfound purpose. Now, rise gently, profoundly renewed by the fabric of the nocturnal desert weave, embraced company of resilient echo songs carried eternal into each and every dawn. As the night transitions seamlessly into day, you walk onward with a heart replete with the knowledge that surviving a night in the medieval desert was but a gift, an invitation to explore the infinite tapestry of Liferich with mystery and meaning unending. Sweet dreams,